Ladies and gentlemen, we come to you tonight with breaking developments that are reverberating across financial markets, local communities, and international policy circles alike. In what many are calling one of the most significant financial updates in modern history, more than 200 exchange centers dedicated to processing the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong are scheduled to launch this week. This is not speculation, not rumor, but confirmed activity being witnessed across Iraq, Vietnam, and international banking hubs, raising the stakes for millions of currency holders who have waited years, in some cases decades, for this very moment. Reports from multiple regions confirm that final preparations are underway. Staff are being trained, and security protocols are being locked in place. The scale of this operation, 200 centers and counting, signals coordination on a level rarely seen in financial infrastructure rollouts. For everyday people holding dinar and dong, this is no longer a question of if, but a matter of when. And it seems that when has now become this week. The sheer scope of what is happening cannot be overstated. For years, speculation about a revaluation or adjustment of the dinar and dong has come in waves, often dismissed by mainstream analysts, yet followed passionately by communities of believers and investors who refuse to let go of the possibility. Now, with actual facilities opening their doors, with equipment being installed, with banks quietly acknowledging preparations, we are witnessing concrete developments that move the story out of the realm of rumor and into the world of reality. Citizens are lining up outside bank branches just to confirm what they have heard. Contractors describe late-night work sessions to install biometric access systems. Armored transport vehicles have been seen making deliveries, and insiders at financial institutions are leaking details that confirm the timeline. In Baghdad, large crowds have gathered outside branches where workers are placing new signage that refers to international exchange. In Erbil, checkpoints have been erected near financial districts, and new armored vans are parked outside bank entrances. In Basra, eyewitnesses describe digital boards being tested, showing placeholders for new currency values. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, the picture is just as vivid. In Hanoi, office towers that previously housed private corporate tenants have been converted almost overnight into secure exchange centers. In Ho Chi Minh City, traffic is snarled outside a newly established banking complex where reports suggest exchange counters are being tested with new verification technology. Across Da Nang, similar scenes are unfolding. These are not the kind of cosmetic changes that can be dismissed. They are clear signs of an infrastructure rollout designed to handle massive financial flows. For ordinary citizens, this announcement represents the potential culmination of years of waiting. Families that purchased dinar during the early 2000s, believing in Iraq's eventual recovery, are dusting off old envelopes of currency, carefully stored in safes, drawers, or safety deposit boxes. In Vietnam, where the dong has long been undervalued relative to the country's economic output, entrepreneurs are preparing for what they see as long overdue recognition of their nation's financial strength. On online forums, excitement is boiling over. Posts describing sleepless nights, early morning queues, and frantic calls to bank hotlines are multiplying by the hour. People are asking, what is the rate? When exactly will exchanges begin? Will there be limits per person? And perhaps the most pressing question of all, will this really be the life-changing moment they have been promised? Banks involved in this rollout include not only Wells Fargo but also HSBC, Citibank, and a network of regional institutions. While official spokespeople remain cautious, insiders describe crash courses being given to staff on how to handle complex transactions, how to verify large amounts of currency, and how to follow strict anti-money laundering rules. Compliance officers are reportedly working around the clock to ensure that international standards are met. The sheer involvement of these globally recognized institutions adds credibility and weight to what is unfolding. Security is also being treated with the utmost seriousness. Reports from multiple locations confirm the presence of armed guards, bulletproof glass, biometric verification systems, and reinforced entry points. It is clear that the authorities and the banks are expecting a surge of activity, and they are determined to prevent any kind of disruption. Governments have responded with careful, measured statements. Iraqi officials have hinted at closer coordination with international banking partners, but have stopped short of confirming exact rates or timelines. In Vietnam, representatives from the central bank have emphasized stability and transparency, noting that any adjustments would be handled in accordance with international standards. These remarks may appear vague, but the timing, coinciding exactly with the opening of these exchange centers, cannot be ignored. Analysts suggest that governments are deliberately withholding explicit confirmation to manage expectations and prevent a rush of speculation before the infrastructure is fully in place. Markets, however, are already responding. Currency traders are reporting unusual surges in volume as dinar and dong pairs experience spikes in activity. Commodities tied to Iraq and Vietnam are also seeing movement. Oil contracts linked to Iraq have experienced sudden premiums, while manufacturing export futures tied to Vietnam are trending upward. Investors worldwide are positioning themselves in anticipation of what could be a historic financial adjustment. The ripple effects of this activity are enormous. If the dinar strengthens significantly, Iraq's leverage in oil negotiations could shift dramatically, giving Baghdad a stronger position in OPEC discussions. If the dong rises, Vietnam's already booming manufacturing sector could accelerate, attracting even more foreign investment and reshaping supply chains across Asia. Yet amid the excitement, cautionary voices are speaking loudly. Financial advisors warn their clients against acting on rumors, stressing that until official rates are published, speculation carries risk. Governments are reminding citizens that tax obligations will apply, that proper documentation will be required, and that all exchanges will be monitored for compliance. Experts also caution that scams are proliferating. Fake exchange centers, counterfeit currency checks, and fraudulent early access programs have already been reported. Citizens are being urged to verify all information with official channels and avoid shortcuts that could cost them dearly. Stories from the ground reveal the human side of this moment. In Baghdad, a retired teacher described clutching her small stash of dinar, bought by her late husband in the belief that one day Iraq would rise again. She told reporters, with tears in her eyes, that she never thought she would live to see this moment. In Ho Chi Minh City, a young entrepreneur explained that a stronger dong could allow him to expand his textile business, create more jobs, and finally compete on equal footing with international companies. Across both countries, the emotions run the full spectrum: hope, fear, excitement, skepticism, but above all, anticipation. Analysts are quick to point out the international implications. If the dinar and dong both undergo significant adjustments, the ripple effects could extend to the US dollar, the euro, and regional currencies like the Thai baht and Malaysian ringgit. Trade balances could shift, investment flows could be redirected, and geopolitical alliances could be tested. Iraq could leverage a stronger currency to increase its influence in Middle Eastern politics, while Vietnam could use its newfound financial strength to assert itself in Southeast Asia. The shockwaves would not stop at national borders. They would reverberate across the globe. The Internet, of course, is amplifying every rumor, every leak, every scrap of information. Social media platforms are flooded with images purporting to show new rates on bank screens, though most cannot be independently verified. Some users claim to have already completed exchanges under strict confidentiality agreements, while others dismiss these claims as fabrications. The sheer volume of chatter creates both excitement and confusion, as people struggle to separate fact from fiction. In such an environment, the official launch of more than 200 exchange centers stands out as a rare piece of verifiable, concrete evidence. The question now is not whether the infrastructure exists, it clearly does, but what happens next. Will the centers open simultaneously across all regions, or will there be a phased rollout? Will there be restrictions on the amount that can be exchanged in the first wave, or will the process be open to all? Will priority be given to certain groups, such as veterans, government workers, or institutional investors? Until these questions are answered, speculation will continue to swirl. For now, the eyes of the world remain fixed on Iraq and Vietnam, and on the banks preparing to execute what could be one of the largest and most impactful financial events in modern history. The clock is ticking, the anticipation is building, and the infrastructure is in place. More than 200 exchange centers are ready to open their doors. What remains is the official word, the rates, the rules, the confirmation that the wait is over. Until then, millions of holders around the world will continue to wait, watch, and hope that the moment they believed in has finally arrived. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this special report, the story is far from over. The next hours and days will bring clarity, confirmation, and perhaps history. For now, what we know is this: over 200 dinar and dong exchange centers are launching this week. That is no rumor, no speculation, it is happening. What it means for you, for markets, and for the global economy will soon be revealed. Stay with us as we continue to bring you live updates on this developing story.